All right. Hey, Margaret.
Hi, Chris.
Welcome. Yeah, happy you're here. I'm happy you're going to school me on Descript because I have never used Descript in my life. And why don't you describe Descript for the people watching real quick? Quick intro.
I think it's exciting that you've never used Descript before because I think it's going to be like one of those YouTube videos where like the guy listens to Bohemian Rhapsody for the first time and he's like never heard it before. It's going to be like that experience for you.
Cool.
So I just wanted to show you around Descript because it's like the clients, like your clients, like the audio clients are using it. And it's so versatile that some people like me think they might not even need you anymore. And so I just thought you'd know what we're working on, that you can add value to by knowing how to help us in the next part when you hand over your sounding awesome files to podcast people like me.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just be clear. You edit podcasts and you also, I think I did a daily goodie post and you emailed me or commented, I can't remember, and you said that people like me who are, real audio people, audio engineers and stuff, that we, and of course, I'm a podcast producer as well and podcast editor, I guess, whatever. So you were saying that people like me are not going to be as needed in the future because of applications like Descript, because
Yes.
Descript is so easy to use for the average person that no longer are people going to have to hire engineers. They're just going to either do it themselves or hire someone for a lot less money. That's what you were saying, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But also audio engineers, if they learn the tool that the clients are using, they can add a lot of value for the clients, not just doing the stuff they do in their DAW, but giving it to the clients in a way that would be most helpful to them.
Right. And when you say the clients are using it, what does that mean? Do you do an edit of the podcast and then you edit it in Descript and then you send that Descript session to your client or something?
No, so I have an audio engineer make my show sound good, and then I do the rest in Descript. But so many shows I don't even need to send to my audio engineer because I can do enough things in Descript that is the process right now.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well, so you're going to show me around Descript, and just so everyone knows, Descript can also edit video. But today you're not going to show editing video, but you're going to show editing audio. But editing video is exactly the same, pretty much, except there's going to be a little video track. So just so everyone knows that up front, that this applies to both audio and video. So, okay.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's share your screen.
All right, here we are in Descript. So we did a fake podcast yesterday at One Way where I work to show you. So I'm just going to download that real quick. So I'm going to start a new project.
Okay.
And it's going to be a name. And I'm going to choose a file to transcribe. And I'm going to just click on both of these video files. They're MP4s, and they will go right into Descript. I can see the audio, video, and the words. And it automatically puts them in sequence. So we're going to press transcribe. And I'm going to put the speaker names right here. So it'll detect each speaker.
Right, as it's transcribing the audio, okay, this is cool.
It is. And now it says combine two files into a multi-track sequence. So we're going to do that. And now it's transcribing. It takes a couple minutes. This is a super short 5-minute podcast. So hopefully it won't take too long to download.
Right. And now, by the way, with Descript, you're doing this in a browser on the web. Is that correct?
No, it's an app.
Oh, it is an application you're running locally.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Oh, and it does say there's some mic bleed. It can actually fix it right for me. So we couldn't get the headset to work for Kate very well. We were having some problems. She has a laptop that I normally wouldn't have a guest use.
Okay.
So we do have some mic bleed.
Wow, that's pretty cool that it just said, hey, there's mic bleed, and you're like, okay, fix it, and that's it.
Yes. it's really wild what it can do.
Yeah, this is great.
So here is the transcript. So now we have the 2 files downloaded. We transcripted them. There is a detect speakers button. If it doesn't know who the speakers are and it can't tell, you would select detect speakers and it actually plays parts of the show and picks out different speakers for you. And you would put their name to the sound of their voices, which is really wild as well.
Nice.
So sometimes I use that. If I have to put this show through a third party something to fix it and put it back in, it'll separate them again. So that's really helpful too. So now the thing that everybody likes about Descript is that it can take out those ums and those ahs. So there's different ways to take out those annoying filler words. So you can just delete like that.
So you just highlighted it and hit the delete key.
However, I'm going to show you a different things that you can do. Down here, I can actually see a lot of times our uhs are not clean uhs. They're flowing into the other word next to them. And so we hear a break when we take them out. So now when I highlight it, it's down here. I can see exactly where it is. And then I can take it off. But another thing I can do, Descript, is I just did Command Z to undo what I did. But right here, I did it again. But I can actually slide this right back to where it was, which is I can take out, maybe I want to take out both of those words. And I can even slide it over because I have a little pause there that I don't want. So this tool down here is super powerful. It slides both ways. So I can go to this part of the file and cut out that. So that's another way that you can delete things. It's really handy for that.
That is very handy. And of course you can, what do they call it? Demo it, meaning just play the audio, just hear that section after you remove the
Right. And you would just do spacebar to play what you just cut. But if you can see that it's flatline to flatline, as I like to call it, you know it's a clean cut.
Got it.
And then also you can expand with Command plus or Command minus to really get a good look at what you're cutting and what you took out to sample certain parts. And you would just move the cursor over to a word or in the sound waves at the bottom to see where you're at. And so that's really handy. So there is a tool to just take out all the ums, all the filler words. You can pay more to take out the likes and the you-knows. However, I wouldn't recommend doing that because if it's not a perfectly clean recording and there's words in black, which there are in almost all of our interviews, there's some words in black that weren't completely detected. That's a non-word to Descript, and it's going to take that out. It's going to think that's extra space. So if you just take out all the extra 5 seconds or more, it's going to take out some non-transcripted words that it won't recognize.
That might be really important to the conversation, right?
Right. So it's important to actually look at what you're doing in the audio file instead of just doing those super handy, fancy, schmancy tools. They're not always the best tools.
Right. So I want to comment on that. So what you're talking about is in Descript, you can actually have Descript automatically remove all the ums, remove all the ahs, remove all the likes. Can you show us that little, is it like a list of checkboxes that you're like, what do I want to remove or something?
Let me remember where I do that because I just don't do that anymore.
So while you're looking for that, I want to say, this is what I want to say. Everyone who talks about how wonderful Descript is, they all say, almost all of them say that, it takes out the ums automatically. It takes out the likes automatically, the ahs automatically. And yes, Descript has something where you can say, take all that out. But like you just said, Margaret, and I've heard this from everyone, it can do that, but we don't recommend it because it doesn't do it that well. And then you have to go back and actually fix a lot of them.
Right.
So this is my point that AI software, it's really machine learning. It's good, but it's not. For people who think that Descript is just going to replace someone like me. Even you said it yourself. That's never going to happen.
Right.
It's a great tool. So far it looks great and people love it. But I just want to stress the reality of the situation, that
Yes.
all these apps that are so wonderful and AI, like, you know what, when it comes down to it and you use it, it's not as great as they market it. And it's not as, and the other problem is people who are new to audio production, they all of a sudden say, oh, Descript, it does everything for me. It's the best. And then they go make YouTube videos promoting Descript. It does everything. It's the best. And all of us audio people are like, yeah, no, it's good, but it's not what you think it is. So, yeah.
But even having said that, it does enough for me that I can do so much that I couldn't do before. And so it's a really helpful tool that I do use carefully. Here is the icon over here that you would shorten word gaps, remove filler words. You can even detect transcription errors here. And so those are things that
Nice.
you can do. And so I'm just going through a list of things I wanted to show you.
Great.
The sound waves at the bottom. And there's another...
No, I was going to say, I'm glad you can put your cursor wherever you want on the audio along the bottom, because when a few years ago, when I got my Mac, when I first got my Mac, I guess it's 5 years ago, I was switching from PC to Mac, and Reaper, for some reason, I didn't think Reaper would work on my Mac, because I tried to install it, it wouldn't work, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to switch DAWs. So I purchased Logic Pro, which is Mac, and I literally opened it up and I tried to put my cursor just anywhere on the audio or anywhere, and it won't let you do it. You have to put the cursor up top on the timeline. And I'm like, you're telling me this software, I just can't put my cursor wherever I want? I'm like, that's dumb, and I never used Logic Pro again. So thank you, Descript.
There's another way to delete text, which is handy, and it is strike through. So it takes it out of the video, out of the audio. It takes it out of the video too, but we're not talking about video today. And it takes it out of the transcript. So but you can see if you're working with a team and you want them to see where you cut so they can put it back, that's a handy tool. There's also a cut tool. So if you look at the sound wave down here, it looks like there's some breathing. So I can just take that out. I could do it that other way, but I can also do the cut tool, and I can cut out this section. So that's really handy also. Just another way to play around in Descript. And so there's also ways that you can move around words. You can add words with AI voice. We don't do that.
Really?
You can have the host record their voice, and they would recognize it enough to be able to just put whatever words you type in. So if the host messes up, I'm not the host of the show, but if the host messes up, you can do that overdub, and you can put in words for them. So if at the end of the show, I think of a question that I wanted to ask the host, I'll ask it at the end, and I'll move it up. So I can move things around in Descript too. So this was a question that I wanted to put at the beginning of the show, but I didn't think of it till the end of the show. So I'm going to add that in, and I can just use it like a Word document. Control X, Control V, and it's in the other part of the show now where it's supposed to be.
Wow. And then you, obviously, if it is a question, you would want to also take the answer and put it there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just showing you for clarity, just to make it brief.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Totally.
Also, if sometimes the host didn't respond, maybe I edited down a show and the I'm sorry that's now needed isn't there. I can go into another show. I can go into another project in Descript. I can pull an I'm sorry from the host, and I can paste it right into this one. So it works between productions as well. So another super handy tool in Descript.
Now, on that note, like you said, you're running local software, Descript. Can you have two projects open at the same time and sort of just copy it and paste it? What you just said?
It doesn't keep two open at the same time.
Okay.
You have to go from project to project.
Got it. But you go to the other project, copy it, then open the new project and paste it. Yep.
Yep. So if I can find where Kate was intentionally coughing in our show, I will show you how we take that out in Descript.
Reminds
right
me of, by the way, today's 420. We're recording this on 420. And the coughing reminds me of the Black Sabbath song, Sweet Leaf, at the beginning. It starts out,
Well, now we can take Ozzy's cough out. Let me show you how
Okay.
we would do that now. So I just press the lower left. There's an icon with the 2 bars, and it goes into the separate tracks. I'm going to pretend that this is the cough without having listened.
Wait, hold on. Do that again.
Okay.
Where did you click on
I'll show you again.
Yeah.
It's right down here. Now I'm going to go to the pointer tool, not that tool. Sorry. Okay, down here, the left. It disappears once you touch it, but right down here, it will go into 2 tracks.
Okay.
And now I'm going to pretend this is the cough. It probably is right there. And I'm going to take the blade tool, and it's only going to take it out of that track. So now I'm going to select what I just, and it's going to take that out, and it's going to keep the rest just running smoothly without that sound. I can even mute the entire track of somebody if I wanted to.
That's very handy because, people talk over each other or people, you always have the podcast host or even some guests that are like, and like, it helps to remove a lot of that because, that's not that nice to listen to, but.
Right. There's another trick in here. So you were saying that my volume was just way too low. If someone on the show has volume that's too low, you would go in here to the separate track. You go to Option, and you click wherever you want the volume to move to. And it'll be for that whole part. And you can put that cut tool, if you wanted to, ahead of time and have it only be loud for a certain section. You could cut so that it would section off part of that file, and it would easily adjust the volume for that person. So that's another really helpful tool. But let me tell you
that's really good because, by the way, if some people, when they talk, they trail off or they just make a comment under their breath and it's just way too low and you just need to bump up, or even just one word you could bump up, or you could even move stuff down. If someone gets too loud, you can move it down too.
Right. So it's very handy. But the reason that Descript is a so-called game changer is because of studio sound. So I'm going to go into the separate tracks again, and I'll show you studio sound is AI. I'm going to close out of here. I'm going to select Audio Effects, Studio Sound, and it's applying it to both files.
Okay.
It's supposed to show an individual file on the right, and it wouldn't do that for me when I separated it, but normally that's where you would do it for for one individual person and not both people.
Okay.
You could do studio sound to AI generate, removing background noise and making it sound generally better for someone who has maybe bad internet or not a good microphone, or for various reasons it doesn't sound good. So you can do studio sound on theirs. And so usually it takes a lot longer than that if it's a typical podcast, and then I can slide that. I can listen to it, certainly, but I can slide the intensity up and down because sometimes you use that and it makes it sound very robotic and not good. So then you slide that.
That's what we call parallel processing. So that intensity, so when it's on 100%, it's 100% processed. And when it's at 0%, it's 0% processed. So what you can do is blend it somewhere in the middle where it actually sounds the best. And so I'm so happy to see that they have that parallel processing, which in here it's just a percentage. But yeah, that's what it is.
And I could just easily click it back off right here too.
Right.
But there's some other audio effects that I am clueless about because I'm not an audio person. But someone who knows what they're doing with audio could probably do a lot in here that I can't, that you could, another reason to add value to a client, because there is a compressor and it has different presets, and like the equalizer has regular, it has all these different equalizers. So then you can go in and even change the settings here, depending on you smart audio people, what that means. I don't understand that, but you do. So you can go in and fine tune equalizer right in Descript, and you can turn it off or on with
Right.
that. So all those buttons are a lot of different. So there's compressor, limiter, ducking,
Yeah.
and equalizer. Some other ones that I don't understand what those are, but
Yeah. And I guarantee, because see, one thing about Descript is that you can tell this is a top-notch product. Like, it's just whether you like it or not, or whatever, it's a well-made product. And I guarantee at some point in those effects, the audio effects, they're going to allow third-party plugins to be
Right.
used, because crazy people like me, we have all these we have really awesome EQs and compressors, and we have just, we spend a lot of money on plugins because they really are amazing. And so it may even be available in here now. I don't know, but if it's not available now, pretty soon, I bet they're going to allow a third-party plugin to be used. And that's really, I'm really happy to see those audio effects. That's really cool.
yeah, it is. And it's another thing that an audio engineer could do. So not only would you do the show in your DAW, make it sound good, but you could, in Descript, give it to me, because then all the tracks are preserved. I can edit them and get back audio too that I want in the show. I just have more control over the show if it's given to me in a Descript file where I have full control of the audio. But if you can manipulate to put some of those settings in Descript for me, because there's even more I can do in Descript. I can add music, I can add graphics, I can do my sound breaks, I can add my intro and my outro, my exit. I can add all that stuff right in Descript.
And so there, you mentioned a Descript file. So apparently this whole project, for instance, the one you're working on now, you could save that as some sort of a Descript file and then send it to me, and then I open it up in my version of Descript?
I can go into the projects file that we started in, and I can give you access to the project.
Oh, wait, access. So that means it's in the cloud?
You would have to have Descript, but then it's shared with you. It's kind of like Dropbox.
Got it. So it is in the cloud, but got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's even way better, because when I make a change, it's changed in the cloud, and then you can immediately see it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you want to see me add some music?
Yes.
Okay. Then we will go up here to Media, and I'm going to add a file.
Okay.
I'm going to add this song. It's really easy. So it's still downloading. All right. And now I'm just going to drag it above there. So it's a separate track now.
Okay.
And I can zoom out and pan around, get to the end of the song.
Wait, can you make the tracks on the bottom bigger, or you can only pull that up so far?
I can.
You know what?
Well,
Because
it's
the
not
display
letting me.
on what we did is we made the display on your computer big text. That's why you can't drag it higher. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can shorten this song.
But normally in Descript, you could probably make the tracks much bigger. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And we only
So-
did that because we're capturing your screen with big text. So whoever's watching, just understand that. Yeah.
So here's the song, and I can look up in the text and I can see where it's going to show up exactly in the words.
Oh,
by
where
looking at
where it ends, you could see literally where the song ends in the words. That's cool.
And then there's a music icon. I can actually have this start in a different place. I can just slide the icon over and have it start right there instead.
Wow.
There's another really cool trick. This is really cool. The slip tool.
Right.
So if I know that this is how much words I want the song over, but I don't want it in this part of the song, I can slide it.
Oh, yeah.
This is so fun. I think that's the coolest thing that you can do in Descript, honestly, because I can even see the sound waves of the song and which part is dramatic and where the end is or the beginning, and I can have it be exactly fitting to wherever the words are and right there, like that, with that slide tool.
Yeah,
So that's another little fun thing.
Yeah, slip. That is cool. That is really cool. And if you're watching this and you don't quite understand that, it's once you do it once, you're like, oh, that is cool. The other thing I want to ask you, let's say you put in the music, and maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but you put in the music right there. What happens if you delete some of the audio, some of the person speaking when the music is playing? Does it? I mean, I'm sure it doesn't actually make an edit to the music file, right?
It does get confused when you do that. So you want to have your words where you want them before you put the music in. It shouldn't happen that way, but it does, I've noticed, get confused when you do delete text under where there's music.
Yeah, because it poses a big question to the app. It's like, well, what do you do? Do you make the music shorter? Do you bring in do you make it longer on the end? Yeah, anyway, okay.
Yeah, it should just make it longer on the end, but it doesn't always work that way.
Yeah. So as always, if you're going to do that, then if you want to edit out a word when the music's playing over it, edit out the word and then just verify that the music still sounds good at the beginning and the end and everything is good. And yeah, verify.
And I think this goes without saying. I'm going to say it again. So the beginning, we have some starter things. So I'm going to actually start with, this is me. We just had some back conversation. So I'm deleting that. And I don't know if you noticed in the video, but it took it out of the video. It will remove it out of the audio too. So it's all in one. I just wanted to show you that.
Okay.
And I'll add an intro if you'd like me to add an intro to this fake podcast.
Yeah, an intro meaning like a video file or something? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes. Well, it's audio, but it's the same for Descript, so it doesn't really matter.
Right,
so
it's either audio. Right, but it's some file that is going to be your intro. And
right.
Okay, I already have a question, but I'll wait.
Well, I'm just going to copy this whole thing. I'm going to copy this whole thing, and then I'll go back to the show.
Oh, so what did you do? You went over to another project real quick and then came back.
And I'm just going to post it in there. Control V, paste it in. And there's the intro with the music. The music is right there for the intro.
And then that's the words of the intro.
Yeah. And I can see that it went over my talking, so I can slide this whole thing over, or I can slide the music back. I think I already have my fades in where I want them, so I'm going to slide this over so that it matches, so we're not cutting off.
So now, okay, this is the question I want to ask you. Crossfading here. So the end of the music, can you fade out the end of the music?
Yeah, so there's a fade here already. That's those white dots. So there, you just grab it from the right, and there's the fade. It's a white dot, and you just slide it over. So my fade goes kind of a while. But that is, and there is crossfade as well. And I don't remember I think that's the crossfade tool right here, the double. Okay. No, I can't remember. It was different in the old Descript. There is crossfade. I don't know how to do it, but the white dot in the upper right is just a one-way fade. And you just slide it over to where you want it, and it goes to right there. That's my fade. And you can kind of see the degradation of the color.
Yeah, the levels coming down.
Yeah.
So so what I like is that you can, because, here's one thing about podcasts that always, I want to say it annoys me, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's when someone puts in a pre-produced intro and the music, hey, welcome to the show, ba-da-ba-da, and then the music plays, and then it fades out to nothing. And then the host comes in and says, hi, welcome to the show. And I always want them crossfaded. So here you can do that. You could, in fact, you just slid the host's voice to the right. You could also move it to the left so that as the music's fading, the person comes in talking. And I like that a lot better.
Yeah, I know you can do that. I don't know the crossfade and the new Descript, but I know it's there.
Yeah, so it's just a little thing. Yeah, you can search on YouTube and find out in 3 seconds probably.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to see how to download it?
Oh, yeah, the mix down, the download. And, so question, if you're going to edit a podcast and all that. Okay, so the volume of each participant, I know you showed me I can change the volume of certain clips, but can I change the overall volume of a participant?
Yeah. You would want to do that first, because when you have cuts in there, like if I put a cut tool in, it's not going to work for the whole file. So if you want to adjust the entire audio for one of the guests, you would do it in this split track file, and you would do it right here at the beginning of that guest, and it would be for the whole thing. And then after you make cuts, when you're doing your edits, it will still be that volume that you have adjusted it to. If you do it later, you got to go through each place. Like here, see how I adjusted the volume, but this one is still at the standard because I made a cut. That's why you do that first.
Okay. And so can you select, for instance, all the clips on, let's say, your track right here on Margaret's track? Can you select multiple clips, maybe hold down Command and click them?
Probably.
And then adjust the volume? Anyway.
Probably.
Okay, you definitely have 2 clips selected.
Yeah, but if I do Option here, it's already, no, it doesn't go to the other one.
Right, okay. All right, good to know.
All right.
By the way, one way to do it would be maybe one of the audio effects, like a compressor. I don't know if the compressors have audio output levels, but you could probably adjust the level with one of the audio effects. Anyway, I'm just sort of guessing, but
this does show audio on this file right here. So I can look at this particular file and see the output right here.
The clip, you mean? The clip, whatever clip is highlighted.
Well, I think that's her whole track because because she doesn't have cuts in her
click
track.
on your little clip, on the left.
So it's not going to select the whole thing, but I can see because we turned it up.
Right.
The audio here is different than the audio. Well, I did turn up this audio. Let me turn this down so you can see what the audio looks like on this side. Oh, it looks the same. That's confusing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of messing around and twisting a lot of knobs here, so cool. Yeah, so we were going to go to like the rendering and stuff, but the reason I brought that up is because another one of the most annoying things in podcasts is when like the host is really loud, but the guest is really quiet, and it's like you can't listen to a podcast like that. So for me, being an audio guy, I always, before I finalize my production, I need to make sure that all the participants are about the same volume to provide a good listening experience. So,
right.
Okay, so let's pretend we did that then, and then how do we finalize this?
Now we're going to go to Publish and Export, and I can export the video, the audio, or I can do the transcript here. So I would do the audio, and there's some tools there that I don't know what they are.
Quality. Okay, we got lossless wave, that's the most high resolution, so for me, that's how, if I was using Descript, that's how I would export it. Mm-hmm. At least to have a copy of the episode in a WAV file.
Yeah.
Channels 1. Okay, so yeah, if you want mono or stereo, sample rate, and the normalized volume. Okay, so you can select the overall volume. So for podcasting for mono, it would be minus 19 LUFS.
Right, so why is this 24, I wonder? But this doesn't give me minus 19. Do I do minus 18?
If those are your only choices, that's what I would do. I'd pick minus 18 for mono.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad I know that now.
So, but you can't adjust that, right? You have to pick from the drop down. You can't like double click on it and type in your own LUFS level.
Maybe. No, it won't let you.
So that's weird. Why would Descript not offer minus 19 for mono?
I don't know.
Yeah, they should fix that. I mean, they should do. And why not just let people type in?
Yeah, everything else is a slider. You can slide this number here with this fancy slide tool, but it doesn't let you do that there.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. So then you got all your settings. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can even add metadata. So you can tag your whole MP. You can tag it if you're exporting an MP3. Okay, it doesn't look like there's that much metadata that you can add, just the title, description. Oh, and you can add artwork. So that there's a lot more metadata you could add, but that's, I don't know. That's not bad, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
You can do all of your social reels, everything in here. That's video, but you can do all that in here. It's really easy. So that's really cool. Mm-hmm.
That is really cool.
If I export the audio, then it just will go to my downloads folder, and then I can just download it to Buzzsprout or wherever.
Right. This is really good to see and have you talk me through how Descript works. I mean, this is really amazing. I mean, and again, because anyone can do this. That's the whole thing, right? You don't have to be an audio person to do this. Like, anyone can do this. That's what makes it so great. Well, that was great, Margaret. So how long have you been using Descript yourself?
2 years. But they just changed in November. They did a ton of updates, so it's a whole new learning curve again. They added a lot of new features, so that's why I don't really know my way around everything like I should, because it's all different.
Yeah, well, and wait another year and they'll do the same thing, which, again, it's all good because that's how we move forward. But
yeah, maybe those plugins.
Yeah, maybe they'll add, at some point they're going to, because they have to. I mean, especially video people and audio people using it. I mean, there are so many great third-party plugins that they're definitely going to integrate that. It's probably not even that hard to do. So before you started using Descript, what were you using?
Nothing.
Okay, cool. So you started with this.
The audio person was doing the show completely.
Cool. And so the transcript, I saw when we went to the export screen, you can export a transcript. Are you also using that?
Absolutely.
And
yeah, we just
what
put
are you
it
doing
right
with
in
that?
We put it on our website. We link it in the show notes. We send it. A lot of times we have high security guests.
Send it. Sorry.
We have high security guests, so I want them to see their transcript before we publish their show. So we don't do that for everybody, but when we have security guests, absolutely, we send them their transcript. A lot of times there's people that are on our show and we're like, you need to write a book on your life. Like, you need to write a book. Here is your transcript. You can use this as a working draft to get started, as an outline for how to put your story together, because we think that your story is publishable.
That is cool. And so how accurate is the transcription in Descript?
It's probably 80%, and then you can do white glove to get it closer.
Oh, 80%. I think I thought that was bad. 80. I thought like 95 was decent, or 90.
I think 95 is white glove. If you run it through a white glove filter, you can do that. But I am doing manipulation myself of the file before I send it.
And how do you do that? You just literally listen to the whole episode and you hear the audio, and as you watch the words, and if they're wrong, you fix them?
Yeah, and you can say fix it for everything instead of, like, our organization is one way. And if it's just more than once, it says one way with 2 words instead of one, like our organization is spelled, I'll just do fix this for all. And so I don't have to keep correcting it or someone's spelling of their name.
Got it. Because I think of that stuff because of my show, the Podcast Engineering Show, where we talk a lot about equipment, and product numbers, the MixPre 6 and the ATH50Xs, and like transcription algorithms pretty much always have trouble with specialty words like that, like, you know what I mean, unique words, because they don't know. I mean, the ATH50X is like, they don't know what that is. So, yeah. But
you can teach Descript to know what that word is, and every time you say it in any show, it'll come up right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Right, so the more you train it, then it becomes less and less of a problem.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are your final thoughts on Descript? And This was great. I mean, I'm just so happy you walked me through that. No one has ever offered to walk me through Descript. I mean, I know there's videos out there and stuff, but it's just nice to have you here. So what do you have? What are your final thoughts on this?
It's not an end all for people like me to do a show without people like you, but I think you could pivot to know why people might think that and help them make their show even better if they're using Descript, like how to add value, how to specifically know, well, studio sound is great, but actually that didn't work for this file because it actually needs this plugin or something else, so it doesn't work for everything. It's great, but to know knowledge is power.
Oh, yeah. And tools are tools. And sometimes a situation you need this tool, another situation you need that tool, and they're all just tools. But a lot of people are loving Descript. And I will say this about podcast production in general, because on interview shows, because the guests usually don't have a good microphone, they're not in a good place. Like in podcast production, we end up fighting with bad audio, wrestling with bad audio, trying to fix it to make it sound decent to go out. I mean, it's just par for the course in podcasting because of the guests. I mean, podcast hosts, they usually buy a decent microphone, obviously, because if they're going to be doing it regularly. But guests, you don't know what you're going to get. So these types of tools are really important. And that's, of course, part of the reason why AI is not going to be taking over anytime soon in audio production because of all that stuff, right? There's a million problems that they happen so rarely that even the AI doesn't have enough data points on them to figure it out, right? And they're not going to for a long time. So,
another thing about an interview show, we send audio kits to our guests, but even then, that does not guarantee a good interview. They might have the wrong placement of the microphone, and we might be correcting them every 10 minutes, but it's still not in the right position. And they might have really bad internet. And as much as we've begged them to connect to their Ethernet, they're like, oh, my internet is good. Well, actually, your internet's not good enough for audio and video together. You actually, but we can't make them. So we're not in control of those guests. And we try to mitigate those things, but it doesn't always work that way. So another reason that we need audio people to fix those yucky files that didn't work the way we had planned.
Yeah. And by the way, that headset you're wearing is the one that you send to guests, and that's the ATH 50, whatever you said there. Yeah. Let's see. Ooh, feedback. See, because it's not on your head, the audio's feeding back into the mic. See, now it's not.
The ATH one that doesn't need an XLR cable, that just goes to the laptop.
Yeah, the ATH 50s, right, it's USB to the computer and with the little microphone arm.
Yes, it's very handy.
I'm going to look them up, see how much they cost. I think that the ATH 50s or whatever, I thought they were like a $100 pair of headphones. But with the mic, I'm sure it's a little more, but definitely not too expensive. Like that's, for what it is, that's an amazing price. So
I think it's cheaper than the Shure MV7 actually. Okay. But I could be wrong on that. It's about the same price, and that's only part of the equation, right? So.
Yeah, the MV7's a good mic, but again, it's just a mic. And it is USB, that's good. But then I guess most guests have headphones or earbuds, but some don't, literally.
But we still get feedback from even earpods sometimes. It doesn't get everything out like headphones do, but it's expensive to send a microphone and big headphones. So this just solves all that for them. It's cheaper than sending the microphone and the microphone stand too, to have this.
Yeah.
And then they don't have the microphone shyness. They don't, move away from the microphone during the show.
Yeah. And even when they mumble, at least the mic is close like that. So, all right, Margaret, thank you so much for coming on and showing me all this.
Sure.
Where can folks find you?
180 Podcast.
180 Podcast. All right, I'll have the links below. Check out Margaret. Go on social media. Say hi to Margaret right now.
Hi.
Go there. Say, hi, Margaret. Chris told me to say hi, Margaret. Thank you. Drive through. Bye. Okay? Say something. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this segment. So thanks, Margaret. Thank you all for watching. And yeah. Oh, I forgot to ask. Does Descript, I'm sure they have like a trial period, right?
Yes.
Like people, you could probably try Descript for at least a week or two for free. So go try Descript. All right. Let's leave it there. Thanks, Margaret. Okay.
Bye-bye.